Hey guys, Zomfox here, and we have some massive news that just came out less than really 3 hours ago from when this video is being posted. If you haven't seen the news, you're probably in shock, but this is true. DC Defenders head coach Reggie Barlow, less than a week until the 2025 season kicks off, has stepped down as head coach of the DC Defenders to reportedly take a job at Tennessee State University as their head coach. This is insane news. This is probably the most shocking news we've really seen since the merger announcement, just because of when this is happening. The fact this is happening less than a week until kickoff. You remember, kickoff is literally on Friday, so this is insane. So we're going to talk about where he's leaving, the reported stuff, and who is reportedly taking over as head coach, which itself is a shock. So first and foremost, the two important tweets. The one from Football Scoop about a week ago, not even a week ago, less than a week ago, said that sources said that Reggie Barlow was emerging as a top target to replace Eddie George at Tennessee State University. And then just a couple hours ago today, James Larson, head coach Reggie Barlow, has informed the Defenders that he will be departing from the UFL. Sources have told both him, UFL analyst, XFL analyst, as well as a couple other people we'll get to later, and initially it was believed that Greg Williams would become the head coach. Well, that's not true either, because it was then reported that Shannon Harris, the quarterback coach, will actually be taking over as head coach in a huge twist. So this is a huge shocker. Again, less than a week from the season happening. We just had cuts happen a couple days ago. This is insane. So let's look at the overall Reggie Barlow point of this. Okay, so from Reggie Barlow's perspective, with the DC Defenders by themselves, he ended up going 13-7 during the regular season. Of course, he had the one great season in 2023, then he had the bad season last year. Made the playoffs, made it to a championship game, lost, won Coach of the Year in 2023. 2024, not as much. Now, when you look at what he did in college, very solid during his two stints as a head coach at Alabama State and Virginia State. Again, neither of them are super huge colleges. Of course, you're not talking about, massive powerhouses in the D1 main division, but you are talking about two teams where he was very successful at for all their years. Right? This is somebody who won the SWAC 3 times, or the East Division 3 times, of course, with Alabama State. 2017, he made it to the NCAA Division II playoffs, did lose, but he was overall very solid. Then he had, the COVID issue happen, then 2021, team didn't do too hot, and then he was gone. So he is now going to a Tennessee State team that just made it to the NC Division I playoffs. Now, of course, this is the subdivision. This is not the main, Division I, but he did make the playoffs, but they lost. It was reported that Eddie George is leaving Tennessee State. There's been transfers, obviously, and so they need a new head coach, and that's where Reggie Barlow is going. So, big deal here, of course. Reggie Barlow taking this job. He's going to get a massive pay raise, a much more secure job, of course, a year-round job versus the seasonal job that the UFL is. So, from his perspective, it makes total sense. He's going to, he's chasing the bag. He's chasing a really solid opportunity. Again, it's one of those things where it's just a matter of when this is happening that it looks really bad. Because, again, we talk about Skip Holtz. He ended up getting a job with, I believe, Northwestern. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, where he became kind of special assistant kind of guy. But he was still able to do his Stallions job, right? So Barlow, a lot of people are going to be really upset about this. Again, from his perspective, it makes sense. It's just kind of a dick move to leave a week before kickoff. So that's the Barlow side of this. Just shocking. Now, the DC Defender side, which is even more shocking, is that Shannon Harris is taking over as head coach. Now, look, Greg Williams is a very controversial figure. Of course, it is the constant joke about all he does is blitz, right? We, of course, remember the cover zero all-out blitz on a Hail Mary with the Jets against the Raiders. If you know, you know. Then, of course, the Bountygate scandal with the New Orleans Saints. But truth be known, the last time he was a head coach, he was actually pretty solid. With the Browns in 2018, he took over from Hugh Jackson when they started winning those games. Yes, it was a pretty weak schedule, but at that point, the Browns were a weak team, and he did a really solid job with that team. Wouldn't have been shocking if he became a head coach, but he didn't, obviously. Went to New York, had the cover zero all-out blitz against the Hail Mary, which obviously backfired, and that was the last time he was coaching really in any major way until he went to the Defenders in 2023. Again, his defenses, especially last year, wasn't really all that great, but it was expected he would become the head coach because he actually has experience in that. Again, he was a head coach for the Bills. He was a head coach interim, granted, for the Browns, and he had a lot of experience. But instead of going to Shannon Harris. Now, Shannon Harris has never been a head coach, but he's had a lot of coaching experience at places that, coincidentally, Reggie Barlow was at, right? Virginia State, Alabama State, and Tennessee State. In fact, he was initially one of the guys that was also targeted to potentially be the head coach at Tennessee State. So, that's kind of where that all kind of comes together, right? You had two guys who are potentially getting that job, and one of them is now the DC Defenders head coach, and the other one is at Tennessee State. Shocking. Now, in a lot of ways, this is actually a move that does make a lot of sense in the realm of trying to build people's careers, right? A big part of the UFL is trying to get everybody to a higher level, right? Zach Potter getting a college job, seeing, again, now with Reggie Barlow getting another college job, and you're giving somebody who's never been a head coach an opportunity to be a head coach. This is a huge reason why a lot of people wanted Jaron Horton to get the Showboats job. Wasn't just because we knew he would do a good job, which we knew he can as a DC, it was to get him a head coaching job. Well, we're seeing that with DC. Now, spoiler, on Monday when I do my power rankings, I'm probably moving DC to last. I've said it before, every move they've made during the close to the season, part of the offseason, I hate it. Bringing back Teamu as your primary starter, didn't like it. The cuts they made, I thought they made the worst cuts of the 8 teams. And this, no disrespect to Harris, but the fact that you're losing your head coach is just a massive deal right before the season happens. So there's a lot of changes that are going to have to happen. It's just DC went from being a team that I already had picked to be last in the XFL to like, I'll be shocked if they're not the worst team in the league. Again, it'll be interesting to see. I hope that I'm wrong, because the truth is, if I'm wrong and DC ends up being really good, this is going to make Harris look incredible as a coach. So that's something that definitely benefits him. If they suck, it doesn't matter. They weren't expected to be good. If they're good, it makes Harris look really good. You know what I mean? This isn't like the Roughnecks, where if the Roughnecks suck again, everybody's going to blame CJ justifiably. If DC sucks, it's not on Shannon because he just took over a week before kickoff. Again, the season starts in 6 days. So, yeah, this was insane news, but that will do it. This has been Zon Fox. Again, make sure you subscribe, the bell turned on, because you have the video tomorrow on all the major changes, not including this one. Obviously, I'm going to put a link in the comments about this one probably. But all the major changes from year 1 to year 2 of the UFL is coming out tomorrow. Power rankings on Monday. As long as they're doing it again this year, Super 6 picks should be on Thursday, and game picks should be out on Friday. Live streaming the game on Friday night. So be on the lookout for all that. If you've been a fan of the channel, think about becoming a community member for 99 cents a month to get a lot of benefits, sneak peeks, upcoming videos, a monthly video that's exclusive to you, as well as team emojis. And as always, guys, have a great night.